the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda, so do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the minutes of the December 17th city council meeting, do I have a motion to approve that?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the claims, first is bills in between $95,684.90. Do I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions on the bills in between? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the current claims are $206,529.70. Do I have a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dave,
Second.
second by discussion or questions on the current claims. Got a motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the accounts payable 2012 bills that we have to handle separate for accounting of $46,850.42. Do I have a motion to approve them?
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion or questions? Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And communication from the public. I know Don wants to say something, is that right? So floor is yours for a couple minutes.
Yep. I'll just make it quick on the rolling wall, an update on that. The county commissioners gave me $4,000. The wall is basically paid for. It will be here on the 31st of July. We just had our first meeting of the group to organize and put it together. So it's rolling and it's gonna happen. Monday, the 14th, the gentleman will be here to do the layout of the wall at the American Legion at 10 o'clock. I would like somebody from the city council to be across over there with me, anybody that wishes to be there, to talk about how it's going to be set up. It's rolling forward, it's going to be a great thing. Unless you have any questions of me on anything there.
I don't have any, does anybody have any questions for Don? Thank you, Don. We'll remind us, we'll try to have somebody there on the 14th.
That's it. Thank you.
Bet. Good work with that. Any other communication from the public? Yeah.
Yeah, we just wanted to thank you for doing the fireworks on New Year's Eve. A lot of people enjoyed it.
Yeah, you're welcome, Cindy. Did you get my email this afternoon?
I did.
Okay, good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Any other communication from the public? Yeah.
My name is Barb Walter, and I just moved here in September, and I wrote this down so I could just read it, and it's in reference to the plunge. I looked to see, it's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to express my opinion. Okay, in my observation of the discussions of the Evans plunge, it is a benefit for all Hot Spring residents and surrounding communities. I came to Hot Springs by being prepared and researching the city and 4 other cities. And the one thing that I found with this community is that it's not just for one family, one person, one ranch. You discuss everything openly and for the benefit of everybody, you know. And one of the things that I looked at when being recommended by someone on the res to move to Hot Springs was I have medical issues, and I also have personal issues that I need to be met. And one of those medical issues was my knee. I had a lot of arthritis and everything. And I met a gentleman in Ohio that owns property by the Badlands. And when I told him that I had chose Hot Springs to come to live, he told me that I would be healed by coming to Hot Springs because of the Evans Plunge and the healing waters. And I was at a powwow in Lima, Ohio. I was sitting next to a lady from Kentucky. And she told me, the discussion came up about me moving to South Dakota. She told me she was from Louisville, Kentucky. She had friends and family at Rosebud. She brings 4 to 5 people from Kentucky every year to Rosebud. She picks up family members there and they come and spend a week at the plunge. So I feel that by the community of Hot Springs owning Evans Plunge, you wouldn't have to be worrying about private owners selling it out from under you all the time. So I just wanted to say thank you to the city for being a friendly city, and also to my friends in the Red for recommending that to come to Hot Springs, that I would be safe, because I have no family here. I came because I was here in '99, back in 2003 in South Dakota. And I had already retired, went back to work, decided to retire again, and I decided to move here. So I just recommend that as a city council, as all the residents of the community, please back the Evans Plunge.
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to town, Barb.
Yes.
Any other communication from the public?
Hi, Lynn. I'm Barry McNair. My wife Lori. We moved here in 2008. When did we get our property? 2005 we got property at Cottonwoods. We got property in the city and we're on the city. And we live in the Panhandle in Nebraska, and we came up here to the plunge. Yeah, different things, but that's when I had a chance to come up here for employment, one of our strong draws was the chance to be able to go swimming. Great for me. My wife was cool. I like it, but not very much as she does. She does water rules and stuff. I just got to say, we really missed, since the plunge closed, last winter and then this winter, we really missed that. And I think it's a great asset to the city. I'm sure that's, a lot of people have said a lot about that, but a lot of, I've met, especially this woman here, she talks to everybody she meets. A lot of people from out of town will come and just, that. We were certainly attracted to buying property. I just want to say I sincerely miss it, and I hope the council considers it. I mean, apparently you are.
All right. The Evans Plunge will be on the agenda at our next meeting, which will be 2 weeks from tomorrow night. It will be on the 22nd. So that would be time for any more discussion if there is any, and that's when it will come to, I'm thinking that night, a vote of the council.
Okay, you might actually vote.
Providing we get a detailed report by then.
Well, thank you.
You bet, thank you.
There's a young lady over here.
Okay, thanks.
We just wanted to say that we're part of the swim team here, and since the Evans Plunge closed, we've had to travel. This is our second year traveling, and it hasn't been the best experience. So I just wanted to say that if the Evans Plunge opened back up, I know that me and my friends would be attending on a regular basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word?
And
Sorry.
I know you guys talked about having this discussed in 2 weeks, but I've been swimming for over 10 years. And I just started when I was little. And I know that you think we might be just kids, but we're getting at the age where we can voice our opinion. And I feel that I wanted to thank you guys for considering buying the plunge. because that really means a lot to both of us. And I've been driving to Rapid every night for practice, and I remember our team won the Spirit Award when we were little. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever because we got to hang that up in Evans Plunge. So I just really like to thank you guys for considering buying Evans Plunge.
Thank you. And what are your names so we can put them in the minutes?
Maddie and Tasha.
Maddie, Brandon, Natasha Wokel.
Say it a little louder.
Maddie, Brandon, Natasha Wokel.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other communications from the public?
Well, I'd like to echo what these young ladies are saying. I think the Evans Plunge is a historical landmark. It's been here so long. I'd hate to see it going into some hands, a different entity, and we would lose it maybe as far as control of it. And one thing we don't want to see is any taxes go out for that, because I think it's self-supporting. We've had, you know, they've made money every year, and I think they can make money in the winter too. And I kind of took it for granted. I learned to swim in that plunge over 70 years ago, if you can believe that. And I've been always an avid member of that to swim, and since we retired here. And that's one of the reasons we came here. And I've talked to many other people that came here to retire because of the plunge. And it's kind of like the Mammoth site. The Mammoth site brings a lot of things into town, a lot of people into town, and I think the plunge can do the same thing. There's people from all over the country that comes every year to this place. And I just want to thank the council for considering it, because I think it would be, I think the city has to own that water. I just feel that's important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, sir?
Oh, Frank Ferguson, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Any more communication from the public? I've got about a minute and a half before we have a hearing, so somebody can have a minute and a half if they want.
I guess I would like that. I am the water aerobics teacher for the plunge.
Can you stand up and
I'm
speak
sorry.
up a little bit?
I am the water aerobics teacher for the plunge, but every time I go to the doctor, they'll say, well, I wish we had more people using the plunge. I wish actually it was open in the winter. So, every doctor I've talked to keeps saying, you keep doing what you're doing, but where we're at is causing some complications with some health issues. But, in that aspect, they said, wish we knew that, because we'd be sending our people down there. There was a guy from Shadron that was actually coming up and having his insurance picking up his physical therapy. And so, there's lots of that situations out there that people don't know that. But he was there 3 times a week driving from Shadron. And we were, like I said, we were from the Bridgeport area. And we have friends who come up and say, plunge isn't open. They're bringing their whole families up and things like that. So please, for our aspect, we would appreciate it a lot. We would adopt the time too.
Thank you. We will have a pretty complete packet of information, a small business plan, if you will, about the plunge and how we would see it operating, management agreement, and some projections on the income and expenses. And that is all going to be to the council, hopefully before the end of this week, so they'll have a little bit extra time to go over it, study it, because they've got to make a big decision in a week or 2 weeks, and I want them to have all the time that they can to look at it. The information will also be available to the public, so if you have questions or you want to take more of a look at the report, we'll have copies at City Hall, I'm guessing, to look at.
And we'll get them to Kurt at the Star also to do it on the website there.
But if you have feelings one way or the other, make sure to call your councilman or have other people call them to encourage them what you're thinking, because it is a big decision. We want to do what the people want, not necessarily what we want. So keep that in mind. If something comes up, if you feel strong, make a call to the councilman or to all of them.
Because of the holiday, the Monday holiday, when the next council meeting is supposed to be, it'll be on Tuesday instead of Monday. So it's Tuesday the 22nd will be the next council meeting, and that's when this issue was tabled.
Now it's 7:15. We do have a hearing on a use permit on review, an application from Jennifer Campbell. Is Jennifer here?
Yep.
Sure. Okay. If you'd like to come up here, that'd be great. We won't have you're gonna be back again in 2.5 weeks, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I might tell the council and the public that all of the notices didn't get out with enough time. So tonight, what we want to do is we'll open up the hearing for anybody that wants to speak. But we'll continue the hearing then until the next meeting, because that'll make sure that everybody has had the notice long enough before our hearing is closed. So Jennifer, go ahead.
I'm asking to provide childcare on my home and become state registered with the state of South Dakota. And I had an inspection done last week, and I have applied to become part of the Youth and Family Services Food Program to help with the food costs. I guess that's pretty much.
Okay.
I'm asking to take care of at least, our maximum was 8 children between the ages of 14 and 18 years old.
The state allows you 8 children at your home?
The state will allow you, without becoming licensed, to care for 12 children. The only benefit of becoming registered with the state is to get the reimbursement for the food program and to be able to take state parents who fit the guidelines to have state aid for child care assistance.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of Jennifer? Yes.
How did you do on your inspection? Great. All I need is just the council's approval, or the city of Hot Springs approval, and then, one other little piece of paper.
I personally have been a licensed daycare provider at one point in my home, and I know that the criteria in order to be licensed by the state, they're after the children's best care, and you don't get approved if you don't meet their standards. So congratulations.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Is there any questions of the council? This is a public hearing, so if anybody has any comments or wants to say anything about this use permit on review, this is the time for it. We will also continue the hearing until the next meeting. We'll finish the hearing then and then make a decision at that meeting. So is there anyone that wishes to be heard regarding this use permit on review? Yeah.
I'll speak on Jennifer's behalf. She has cared for my children, and I trust her with 100 kids at one time, not just 8, so.
Thanks, Stacey.
Could you state your name for the minutes, please?
My name is Stacy Reitz.
Thank you.
Is there, just, has really nothing to do, what ages are you trying to take care of? Are you put yourself in a position where up to a certain age?
Up to 8 years old. Yep. My house isn't big enough to have 10 and 12-year-old running around, so, and I figure 8 years old is the max of everything.
And obviously you'll be utilizing the outdoors, the
Yep.
backyard. and
Yep,
stuff.
my backyard is completely fenced in.
Yeah, I
And
know.
all the equipment is safe. And I did get insurance through State Farm. So,
By any chance, did you talk to any of your neighbors or?
yep, I talked to all of my surrounding neighbors, everybody that is right directly around me, and then I haven't talked to all of the ones that I've sent certified letters to.
Have you got any remarks?
I have had no complaints from them.
The map was included in your packet of the area that she had to contact the residents, and there needed to be a certain time limit, and that's what,
Yeah.
the letters didn't get out in enough time to meet the deadline for the hearing tonight.
Yes, I wasn't planning the holidays with the post office being closed and everything.
Well, I figure if you get the mothers to say yes, that's more of an indictment for you than the state actually. So.
Another question or comment here?
I just want to make the comment, my name is Bonnie Hammer. I want to make the comment that being a new mom, it's hard to find daycare and to get people that are registered with the state and you know that they're safe and it's a blessing to have, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments on the use permit? If not, I'd like to look I was gonna say, I'd entertain a motion to continue the hearing until the next council meeting when we would make a final decision as a council. Motion by Craig, second Dave. Any discussion? We have a motion, a second, to continue the hearing until the next meeting. At that point, it'll be back on the agenda for more public comment, and the council will make a determination at that time. I have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thanks, Jim. Now, I kind of cut it short. Was there any other communication from the public? I didn't think that there was. Okay, we'll continue. Next item is an ordinance, the animal and fowl ordinance. It's ordinance number 1122. This is the second reading of the ordinance. It's a public hearing, so if anybody wants to be heard regarding this ordinance, this is the time to do it right now. Yes, sir.
I'm Scott Haynes. I've lived in Hot Springs for the last 5 years. And just by luck, I found out about this ordinance going past the first reading. And I'm not quite sure why this is being revisited. Because in 2008, there's an article stating that our animal control officer said it was adopted in 3 other cities with no effectiveness. And I'm not sure how the city will actually be able to financially uphold this ordinance when they can't uphold the ordinances they already have. Anybody with an idea that pit bulls are meant to be weaned in any kind of genetic way, it hasn't done their research. If anything, you do any kind of research, pit bulls are actually people-friendly, and they're known for their love of children. And then in another article, last year on the 16th, the animal control officer said there was numerous complaints, mostly people walking on the Freedom Trail, reports of dogs running towards them. Now, to me, that sounds like it's not pit bulls, it's a generalized term, dogs. And in the same article, he goes on to 2 situations about pit bulls, both of which, if the current ordinances would have been enforced, there wouldn't have been an issue. So I'm not quite sure why we're going down this road. I fought this when I lived up in Rapid City also. And I talked to the ordinance administrator of Sturgis, where we adopted this from. He says he doesn't like it, and if they would have just enforced their current ordinances, they wouldn't have had to pass it. So I'm just not sure why we're even thinking about this, because if this passes, my home is going to prison, and it's going to make my dog out to be a criminal, which is.
Thank you. Bobby?
When we visited this before, when I was on the city council, talking with Dave Green, he was not for the pit bull ordinance, and he's not here tonight, I see, so we can't ask him how he feels now. One of the things, I also work with Laura Michael, who has the Mutt House, and she and I have visited numerous times about breed-specific laws, and she agrees that it's not the breed that they are, it's how they're handled, how they're raised to treat other dogs, other humans. You know, it's not a breed-specific thing. I had 2 English Mastiffs. One was a teddy bear. He was the most amazing dog. He weighs 170 pounds. Then I had a female, and she didn't weigh as much. She wasn't as big, and she was not a nice dog. And we didn't treat her any differently than we treated the other dog. They were the exact same breed, both of them English Mastiffs. Sometimes I think dogs just have the natural craziness that humans can have, you know? You can have a normal human and somebody that's a little off their rocker. But what my point is it's not a breed-specific thing. So please rethink this. Do not pass this ordinance.
We're back here. Please state your name too.
My name is Lisa Starr, and I own a pit bull mixed dog in city limits. And again, you know, going after breed specific, if you pass this, you're really not doing your homework. You need to go online. There are several organizations that are using pit bulls as service dogs. They're a very friendly animal, just like other dogs that you have out there. It seems to me that the problem that you're running into is not necessarily the breed, because there are several people in the city limits of Hot Springs that do not have pit bulls, but have their dogs insured at a higher amount because they know they're not friendly dogs. Like I said, those are not pit bull breeds. So why are we not considering them? As far as the problems with the dogs in town, Mr. Green definitely knows who those owners are. It's the owners that you're having the problem with. Currently, local animal ordinances in this town are not being upheld. You know, we have a dog nuisance. We have a couple of dogs in our neighborhood that bark incessantly. And Mr. Green can't do a thing about it, but there is in your paperwork an ordinance that he should be able to do something. So maybe enforcing the current ordinances that are out there and then going after the owners. If there is a pit bull in town that is owned by an owner who does not respect or care for the animal, then it's the owner that should be punished, not the animal, not the breed. You know, make it so that if there's a vicious dog in town and that dog hurts somebody, that that owner and anyone that owner lives with can no longer own an animal in city limits. Try enforcing something like that. What happens once you pass this ordinance on pit bulls and a German Shepherd bites and kills somebody? Are you gonna go after the German Shepherd breed then too? Because if you don't, you're not being fair. You're not being fair at all. So I really would encourage you to rethink things. I have an answer for any question you got, so if you'd like to ask, I'd be more than happy to give you an answer.
Okay, thank you. Before we come back to the second time, any other comments, questions? This is a public hearing, it's the time to be.
As a council member, I believe that what we should be looking at is not breed specific, but as the lady mentioned, vicious dog. That's the way it should be stated in the ordinance. I don't think we should be going after, although we have had a couple of instances with pit bulls here in town that have attacked other dogs and other people. I think it should be vicious animal, vicious dog. You can even have vicious cat.
I got a question for Lisa. You used to work at vet.
Yes, I work at Barnyard
How
Vet.
many problems did you have with other dogs biting?
Actually, you know, with pit bulls, I didn't find there to be much of a problem. There were some that we had to be more cautious around, but that's because they didn't know who we were and they were scared. It's actually every breed, small dogs, big dogs, every breed has dogs that are mean. There was also a groomer that works out at Barnyard Vet, and there were several very small lap dogs that us who worked there would not go near the dog. We would have the owner take it back into the cage because they were very unfriendly. Would I want you to put an ordinance on them so that they have to be locked up? No. I'm hoping that the owner takes care of them properly. So no, I've seen everything from large dogs to really small dogs being mean.
Thank you.
Well, Dave and I's on this committee, and Dave, we've argued quite a bit about it, because I agree with Carl. I think it ought to be vicious dogs, not just pit bulls.
Should be vicious animals that way.
Vicious animals.
And I agree, it should be vicious animals, right? This portion wasn't really brought up by per se. I don't want anybody thinking that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it was. That's if you and I talked about it.
We've been confronted by folks who've had problems with pit bulls. And most recent was a person downtown that was evidently tore up pretty good. Is the jaw structure of a pit bull stronger than most animals?
Yes.
Are they muscular? Yes. Go ahead.
Can I comment on that? No, they got a high threshold of pain, and they are a powerful breed.
Their jaw pressure is way stronger than a normal dog.
Not a normal dog. There are several breeds
There's
with
no old
their
black
type
dog,
of jaw
nothing like that.
pressure. Have you actually gone online and looked up?
I've watched several shows on it.
Okay, that really doesn't make you an expert at all.
Oh, you don't think the experts that were doing the show were an expert?
I think you were watching something a little more one-sided.
Animal Planet?
Have you looked at anything where they're using the pit bull breed as service
You know,
dogs?
let's not play games. I mean, we all know the pit bull, they do have a bad rap because once they do lock onto something, you ain't gonna get them off there. I mean, that's been the dog that's been the problem for the last year and a half. I mean,
It's not the dog that's the problem.
yes,
It's
it was the dog that
owner.
was the problem.
It's your owner. It's your owner.
And Mr. Egley, he was talking about two specific situations. One was down in Dairy Queen, correct? And another one, there was a couple of pit bulls getting out of town, attacking sheep. So one, you got one owner not containing their dog.
Well, it's been more than just two, trust me.
And then the other issue, the one out of Dairy Queen, it wasn't on a leash, correct?
Right.
That's right. So we have ordinances in place for that, correct?
That's correct.
And what happened to that dog?
Got put to sleep.
Correct.
Yeah.
What should be.
So why didn't you enforce the leash ordinance
Ask the
on
police
that?
chief.
And see, that's the whole other issue. How are you gonna enforce this? Because right now, I know the state's attorney here is not gonna help you guys out. He isn't gonna prosecute these. There's illegal things happening in this town right now, and the police will not go arrest those people because they say that their state's attorney will not prosecute it. So why should they go after it? Really? I understand that Mr. Froman had a traumatic experience. I do agree with that. And I agree that there are several, more than two, people in town that own pit bulls that shouldn't. They shouldn't own any animal. They abuse them, they don't treat them right, they starve them. It's wrong.
Why do you suppose the city of Aberdeen just adopted a pit bull ordinance?
Because they're idiots.
Yeah, they are. Why did they? Because they're
Because
gonna.
it does say Aberdeen, if you look across the United States, it's all over.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying, they were the latest, I mean, within the last
Well, let's
couple
talk
of months.
about the situation down in Dairy Queen where the pit bull attacked the dog.
The dog.
It's traumatic. Would it be any less traumatic if there was a German Shepherd, or a Bulldog, or a Shar-Pei, or an Akita? You tell me a nice, calm, mellow, non-violent dog attack on another dog.
Okay, thanks, Lonnie.
And getting back to when I was visiting about my female mastiff, she used to bolt out under my chain link fence and chase after people. And Dave Green came, talked to me. I had to get rid of her. And I was glad to get rid of her because I didn't want to have that liability. I made arrangements with the Humane Society. They found her a home where she could thrive outside of town, and she actually went to Canada. But the point is if people would just work with people, and like I said, she was an English Mastiff. She was not a pit bull. That's not even a related breed. So, and she had that problem. So, it should be a vicious dog ordinance, not a breed specific.
And maybe the city could, instead of putting resources and funds into putting a new ordinance passed, maybe we should give the animal control officer those resources to enforce the current.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments on this? I have one back here.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. My daughter was one of those people that were attacked by a pit bull. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't funny. And it wasn't the fact that a pit bull isn't dangerous. They were hugely dangerous. It took 5 grown men to get this damn dog to let loose. Now, I'm not saying it needs to be just pit bulls. Make it vicious. I don't care. But don't do nothing and wait until a 2-year-old kid is attacked and killed. So make it vicious, that's fine with me, but let's not pretend that we don't have a problem.
Right, I'm not saying we don't have a problem. I agree with that gentleman completely. If there's an issue with the dog, destroy it, whatever. I'm okay with that.
This is a hearing, it's open to the public. Any more comments or questions on the ordinance? We've handled the pit bull thing quite a bit, which most of what we've heard says no. There's other parts of the ordinance too. Does anybody have any problems with any other parts of the ordinance? Or is it only the pit bull portion?
Done. Yeah. I've had contact from one of my constituents who was concerned about, this is far from the pit bull, but cats. Now, this ordinance has stricken dog from a lot of the, yeah, and changed it to just animal, or vertebrate animal. Anyway, this person was concerned that their cat would have to be on a leash and tied up in their yard. And I guess I went back and read through the ordinance, and the way it reads, technically, yes, that's the way it would be. Now, I don't see a problem with putting a collar on a cat and making sure they have a license, but it's going to be pretty hard to kennel or fence in cats in town.
I understand. I used to work up at Rapid City Regional, and cat scratch or cat bite would be one of the worst infections that we have. So I think there should be held to the same. I mean, I understand. I got a cat also, so I'm not gonna walk around town with it on a leash. But it's an inside cat. He won't even get it. And one of my neighbors has probably 50 cats.
I'm not saying that I'm for or against it. I'm just saying that this was brought to my attention, and it is in there. It would be that way if we pass this ordinance.
I think, and we've discussed this in the mayor's office, is the, not only the licensing, but putting one of those tags or a chip in a cat so that if it is caught by the dog catcher, if it runs into a cage and somebody can identify who it belongs to. Otherwise, in my estimation, there's no way that you can leash and harness a cat.
Hold an owner accountable when you don't even know who belongs to.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Those
Question?
chips are only good if you keep them current with the current owner.
Right.
So.
My question, involving the pit bulls, the cats, we discussed that in those committee meetings too about the leashing, and he's right about the cats, that once a cat, I think Craig was one who said, if a cat wasn't raised with a leash, you ain't gonna get one on it. But my question is, this is a really important question to me. She said the state's attorney won't prosecute it, okay? We've heard for a year now, all these animal control complaints, everything else. So if we can't enforce it, if the state's attorney isn't gonna do it, how can we, that's a really good point. Why have a new ordinance if the one we have, and I'm not gonna say that Dave Green doesn't do a good job. He arrested my dogs 3 or 4 times till I spent about $600 to get that fence foolproof, and they still find spots. But you know what? That was my job as an owner. But how can we ever ensure that the animal ordinances we do have now are going to be, I mean, I think that's a really good point to make. If it's not being upheld now, what can we do to make it start being upheld? Because that's the biggest problem. Animals not on leashes, spayed and neutered, vicious animals, all of those things. If we can't enforce it now, what good is it?
What we've done with this ordinance, we have said in there that the fines are done by a resolution schedule, which we would have at a future meeting after this will pass. And we will not write any animal nuisance violation on a state law, which is the ones that are the Jim Sorton would prosecute. These would all be city violations, and our city attorney would handle these complaints and violations. So it's not a state's attorney issue with city ordinance. Question?
I would like to point out that the only reason that pit bull that attacked my daughter was put to sleep wasn't because of our ability to do that under the law. is because the individual failed to show up to pay the fines to get his dog out of the dog pound.
And that's the exact owners that we need to make sure don't have any animals.
Right.
How you gonna do that without an ordinance?
Uphold the ones we got. Uphold the ones we got.
I also had a complaint on the fowl, having chickens in town.
I've had a few of those myself.
I think we need to revisit this ordinance, guys.
I don't know, I've had a couple people happy that they can have chickens if this goes through.
The lady I talked to was worried about property values and the smell. Coots.
That is, if you.
That's in there.
It's
Yeah,
in there.
it's in there, but
Any more comments from the public? It is a public hearing.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay, sure.
Wes, you seem to have your mind set on how you want to do this. I really hope that
You
you
have no idea
are.
how I'm gonna vote, so. if
I
you're
really
ready-
hope that you have an open mind.
I do have no.
Because there are people watching you in your district, and
That's why I said it should be changed to vicious animals, not just
Okay.
dogs.
thank you.
Any other comments from the public on this ordinance? If not, I'll end the hearing, and it's up to the council. Do I have a motion to adopt the ordinance second reading?
I'd make a motion to table it,
Have a motion to table until when?
until the committee can review it again, I guess, and retune it.
Second. We have a motion to second to table, send it back to the committee to retune it.
If it goes back to the committee, you're gonna come back to a first reading anyhow. You just-
Yeah, really, it would. But I have a motion to table, it's on the floor, there's no discussion on the table motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? It's tabled. Continuing, we have several resolutions. The first one is the salary resolution. It's 2013-01. By state law, we have to publish our salaries and wages every year. This is the resolution. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next resolution, number 2, is the designation of depositors of official newspaper. It talks about the banks in town, and it makes the Hot Springs Star official newspaper. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution? So moved. Second. I have a motion and a second. I had a couple seconds. Pick one. Have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next resolution, number 3, is regarding the Angostura Irrigation District for the water out at the airport. Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion or questions? Got a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Personnel, you can read in your agenda the personnel changes. And the reason library volunteers are on there is when they're listed in our minutes, they're covered then as volunteers under workers' compensation. In your new business, we've got quite a few contracts that are coming up with the first of the year. First one is on the meter reader. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments on this contract?
I think this ought to be changed. Just the water. Instead of the water department superintendent, it should be Harley or something that makes, or somebody, because we don't have a superintendent in water department, that makes the decision whether or not the meter pits are open.
I think it will work this way, but it's up to the council if they'd like to change it.
You think it'll work that way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We've got an acting superintendent, and I think that will do the same thing.
Make a motion, we approve it then.
I think we had a motion a second, didn't we? Yep. Any other discussion? The contract, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next contract on the grow shop manager. Contract number 2, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second, discussion or questions? Have a motion and a second on the contract number 2, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Third one, contract number 3 is for the golf course superintendent. Do I have a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
Second.
Got 2 motions and a second. Any discussion or questions from the council? Have a motion and a second to approve the contract number 3, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the number 4 is the animal control officer.
I think that needs table. I make a motion we table that.
Got a
So the
motion.
committee can go over it.
I've got a motion to table this for the committee to look at. Is that right? Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it. We got some questions, I guess, to figure out.
I got a motion to second table contract number 4. If you vote yes, it will be tabled probably until the next meeting. Got a motion to second to table, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
2 noes, is that right?
2 noes or Joe too or not?
Yes. I have 2 noes. It is tabled. Contract number 5 is barnyard veterinary services. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Got a motion and a second to approve contract number 5. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
1 no. Contract 2013-7 is for the police department janitor. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Discussion or questions? Got a motion and a second to approve contract number 7. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And city cleanup, public works.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm ready to make a motion on this. I think we need to go over a few details yet, but we are going to have some cleanup days this year, and I'm hoping for 6 cleanup days. We have a few details to work out as to where they will be, and I think we're gonna go with the water bill again, to be allowed to dump in the dumpsters at the MRF. But it'll all be inside and outside. I think there was a little abuse the way we did it last time. So, but I would like, we need to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay. And the MRF loan, public works too, I guess.
That's me.
Well, it's yours? Sorry.
Harley was checking into that to see if we had enough money to pay this off. There's, I guess we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with that monthly collection that we're doing. We're gonna have to redirect someone or figure out what we wanna do with it, but I think we should pay that loan off. We've got the money there. Instead of paying interest every month, we just will pay it off.
Harley, can you explain?
The MRF payment was originally a 15-year loan through the solid waste revolving loan fund money at the state level, back when recycling was supposed to take over and be the savior of all the garbage issues, but it was learned in short order that it was costing more to recycle than it was to just start dumping the way we've always dumped in South Dakota, and that's that way in most of the Midwest. So because of that, the MRF operation ceased, and I guess I'm not exactly sure when it quit, but we were still responsible as a city for the loan. That loan was due to be paid off in March or April of 2015. We were required by the bonding documents to have a minimum of 1 year's payments in reserve. So the city has had to hold that there for that purpose. So we're within a couple years of having this thing, 2 years and 3 months of having this thing paid off. We knew we had the money for 1 year in reserve, and looking at the collections and the lack of the need for a lot of repairs on the dumpsters, because the contract, when the city entered into it last time, did a good thing by requiring the contractor to be responsible for making the repairs to any of the dumpsters. The city was still going to pay for the parts to repair them, but the contractor had to pay them. So we have had very minimal cost involved in repairs. So it has built the fund up. We currently owe $183,514.65 on payments. If we were to pay it off this month, we are making monthly payments, so depending on when you actually decide to go forward with this, if you do, that number will change. You have just over $300,000 in the fund that's there for both the debt service and the city repair. And on your water bills, you'll see that broken out two different ways. You've got the garbage collection, and you've got what's called city and debt, I think, or city debt on there. And what that means is the city repairs and the debt portion of the bills. So the money is there if you want to advance payment to do this. It would leave a little over $100,000 in the fund for continued repairs, and last year we spent under $5,000 total on the repairs. So you don't have a lot of repairs out there, and it doesn't look like you're going to need to do any mass replacement of the dumpsters because the condition is holding.
At this present time, if we was to pay it off prior to its lively length, what would we save in interest?
Interest on this loan is 5%.
I'd make the motion to pay it off.
Second now.
Have a motion, a second, to pay off the MRF loan. Discussion?
Yes. With regard to the activity at the MRF, does this payment of paying it off affect what we can do out there? Don't we have regulation that says that even after we close it, we had to be prepared to cover over all of our pits with 2 feet of clean dirt so that it grows back? This doesn't affect any of that?
Well, I think everything's done because since we've got to take most of this year to do it instead of doing it when they first wanted, we've had enough time to cover it with extra dirt we've had.
And the last inspection, did we pass that with flying colors?
The only thing that needed to happen was the planting or the revegetation of that area, and we got an extension on that. The actual date to close for closure was November 1, but because of the dry conditions, we had several experts, if you might say, that boy, if you plant now, it's not going to take anyway necessarily. So we've got the seed. We'll plant when we know it's a proper time to plant for the upcoming season for the vegetation to take.
Thanks.
Have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Have a motion, a second, to pay off the MRF loan right away. And we have plenty of cash. We'll still have close to 100,000 left.
Yeah, a little over 100.
Wait a minute, before we go into a vote. Have we decided what we're going to do with that additional payment on the water bill?
No, that's why I said we're gonna have
Is
to
that
figure
gonna
that
go
out.
away?
We're gonna have to work something out there.
We'll have to leave some in there for the trash can stuff.
Maintenance.
Yeah. And hopefully
Are
we
we
can take a bunch of
restricted
those.
on the remainder of these funds to use, say, towards yearly cleanup, or however many we decide to do?
I haven't actually reviewed the bond documents, but normally when the debt is paid off, you're going to need to take some action on what you're going to do with that balance. And of the $9.01, I think is what's on the bill right now that went out for January for the December's usage, I believe $3.60 of that is the debt service portion of the billing. So you'll need to decide what you're going to do with that $3.60 at some point here.
Okay.
I'd like Public Works to take a look at that and try to figure out what we should be doing with the pavements, with the extra money, just look at the whole package. Have a motion on the floor to pay off the loan. Any other discussion?
Do you have a figure on exactly how much interest we will save by paying it off? $50,000?
I don't have that right in front of me. But our current balance is 183, so it'd be the 5% interest, and we're making monthly payments of $6,300, I believe. Get that exact amount for you.
Oh, you got a calculator over there?
Do you need it? Come on. Instead of 5%, 100,000, you got 5,000. It'll probably be, you got 2 times. It'll be between 13,000 and 15,000 probably. Oh, you got that counting, better.
Your December payments, your December bills, show you paid $809.14 in interest.
So $800 a month in interest, basically.
Any other comments? Have a
Thank
motion.
you. Saving quite a bit in a year.
10,000. Have a motion and a second to pay off the loan. Is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Committee reports, administrative. Carl? Anything?
Nothing to report at this time. We're going to be meeting Wednesday at 3 p.m. Do we want to make that earlier? 9 a.m. on Wednesday we're meeting.
This Wednesday?
Administration.
Okay.
At what time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.?
Paper's gonna be wrong tomorrow.
Who is it?
That's all right. They're always right at the other 12 months out of the year.
Only when you follow your schedule.
And the nuisance committee will be meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay.
That's not legal, is it? No.
I don't know why that should really bother us.
What's
You still have to post it 24 hours in advance.
Legally, you're supposed to.
If there's a quorum there, you have to.
If it's a public meeting,
You have to
you
advertise
have
the
to
meeting.
notify the public 24 hours in advance.
But I don't think you have to have the agenda out if there's not a quorum
No,
there.
but you have to notify the public.
That there is a meeting.
Did you guys put a note on the door this morning at 9 o'clock says your meeting tomorrow?
No.
There you go.
Have it next day? Just make Kurt happy?
Yeah, just
Okay.
make Kurt
It
happy.
ain't Kurt, there's an open law meeting committee, that's their job.
So when is the nuisance committee?
Go on, Public Works.
I don't care when you just Kurt. I just wish you guys could make the schedule.
Can it be following the admin?
Did you have anything else?
Yeah, we got a couple things. The new sewer cameras in. We will be in the process of cameraing the lines that will be going under Highway 385 when they redo 385 to assess the condition of those lines and see if they need replaced. The sewer easement project for Almond Avenue, Anderson Engineering was doing some surveying last week, so we are moving along with that. And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Dwight. Public safety, Craig, did you have anything else?
We have a meeting next Monday at 9 o'clock.
Okay, that's a scheduled meeting, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And it'll be advertised more than 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
It is an agent.
Cultural recreation, Joe, did you?
No, our meeting is at 5:15 tomorrow at the library. So,
Okay.
Okay.
we put that in the paper last week.
You normally meet the first Tuesday, but you
Right,
moved it.
but the first Tuesday was.
See, and you guys think this is funny, but legally, you know, it doesn't chap me a bit, because you only got two people, you can't make any decisions, but legally, if somebody comes down to you, you're wrong.
Are we violating the open meetings law?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, with that
If you read
respect?
that municipal magazine, there's a list of the violations that occurred this year. It It tells you the date and time and which township, county, whatever violated. So there it is. It is being watched.
Keep me apprised on that, Wes.
We'll leave it at 3 so we have no problems, okay? Just leave it at 3.
The admin meeting is all right, because that's more than 24
I
hours
thought it was
away.
24.
It's the nuisance meeting.
But it's not
Change the time.
It's the nuisance committee they have a problem with, and they're gonna have a problem. Public's gonna have a problem with nuisances, and we're gonna take care of them.
There you go.
At 9 o'clock tomorrow at the.
No, next day.
No, tomorrow.
But we changed it to wing, street name.
You're gonna do that Wednesday now?
Yeah.
Yes, I don't wanna create a
Oh, it's Wednesday at 9.
stir for the state's attorney to come after me.
What is Wednesday at 9?
Wednesday at 9, nuisance.
Nuisance, and the admin. is
Admin
still
will
at-
follow.
He won't prosecute you.
Well, you never know. I don't wanna go to Edgemont anymore because he's the city attorney for Edgemont, and I'd sure like to know what the conflict of interest is there.
Don't open that door.
He's a salaried county employee that we're paying, and he's also being paid by the city of Edgemont while he's on duty as the state's attorney.
Technically, in South Dakota State Attorney's a part-time job, I
I'd like to remind the council that it really is important to let us know at City Hall when the committees are gonna meet, so we can put it on our calendar and it's posted. And try not to change that if possible, because some people look at that, check it, they wanna come in. It's not fair to the public to change them all the time. Make sure that, try to keep them on the calendar. And the other thing is, I've asked before, I was gonna say it later, but I can say it now. Please turn in the minutes of the committee meetings, so we have a record of what's happening. When Greg does it, he has somebody that tells him he has to. But the rest of them, get the minutes in with Debbie, it really helps us.
Let you know, it's usually not minutes, it's hours at those meetings.
Okay, I think that's it for committee reports. Harley, do you have information?
We had went out for a request for proposals on kind of an odd item. The agreement with the feedlot expired on the lease of the airport land, or the land around the airport. The city has 500 plus acres that we use for dumping the sewer sludge on. We had a lease with the feedlot that expired at the end of the year. There were several inquiries about, we've got some very valuable sand reserves under this property, so should we be mining those sand reserves? We've got our agreement that you just talked about with the Angostura Reservoir for the water to go there for irrigating this, for if we're going to plant things that'll take the nitrogen out so we can meet our sewer plant needs. So there was multiple things that were going on. So we had a request for proposal of 5 options, or any combination of the options of taking care of the sand, leasing it as farm ground, helping with our sludge issue for our land application of the sludge, and any other options that might be out there that anybody could think of. We've had several contacts of folks interested. We found out that when we put the proposal in, that they needed a little more time because of the detailed nature of this and some of the other ideas. There might be a possibility that the city has a different option than the wastewater treatment plant expansion that we need to do, or redevelopment. So, they've requested that we extend the time of this RFP, so we will now collect them at 5 p.m. on February 8th. So anyone interested in putting in a proposal or seeing what it is, stop by City Hall. The folks, 5 to be exact, that had an interest in this already have been told that there's an extension.
I thought we extended that because the dates were messed up.
Well, that was part of the problem too, but they were wanting, two of the people wanted some extensions. What he's referring to is we had January 11th as the deadline for receiving proposals, but it said January 11th of 2012 instead of 13. So just to make it totally legal, we're republishing, and a couple of them wanted a little more time anyway to talk about several things that could be an advantage. There's some thought that we need a quarter-mile racetrack, and maybe that could be part of some of the reutilization of this and get back to the drag racing that used to happen down here in Hot Springs. To help out with those that are planning activities around the city, we can help out with that. Put you in charge of it or something. But, so those were some of the kinds of things that we're being looked at. So that's just an informational thing. The meeting will be changed, as I mentioned earlier, to the 22nd of January rather than the Monday because of the Martin Luther King holiday.
Okay, thank you, Harley. The only item I had was that early February, the 5th and the 6th is the Municipal League. It's Municipal Government Day in Pierce, so if anyone wants to go to that, get hold of Harley and get registered, because it's a good session, it's pretty informative. That's the only item I have. We do have, hopefully a very short executive session for legal we have to go into. So if there's no other business, I would entertain a motion to go to executive session.
So moved.
Legal matters.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.